Other talking point today, the Arizona Coyotes. This comes from Craig Morgan on Twitter. Arizona Board of Regents has approved capital development plan for Arizona State University's multipurpose arena. That includes Coyotes added team areas in their northeast corner. ASU will be the Coyotes' temporary home for at least 3 seasons. They are approved for more as they await word on their proposed Tempe arena. Now, we have had this conversation before about the Coyotes. I want to mention what this setup kind of is, right? Now, when it comes to the landscape of the Phoenix area, because again, it is, as Sin discovered recently on this show, a bigger kind of metropolitan area than I think a lot of people realize. What was it? The Phoenix is the 4th biggest
something crazy,
the
like
4th
that.
biggest city in the U.S. Now, I had to look this up, and I am continuing to look this up really quickly, just in terms of the distance. Now, it is noted that Gila River Arena is out of the way. Like, if you look at a map of where Glendale is compared to, Phoenix and the infrastructure of that city and how easy it is to get people to the games, that's been their biggest issue, as I punch my microphone, in terms of attendance. That is by far their biggest issue, is just unless that team is good, people are not going to go out of their way to make their way to Glendale. Whereas, much, much closer is this arena for ASU and just the Tempe area in general. Like, it's honestly pretty equivalent to what you see with the Ottawa Senators, and the fact that their arena is out in the middle of fucking nowhere in Canada instead of being in downtown Ottawa. But that's a Canadian team, so it's fine. The main thing I've seen in regards to this, and again, I think I've made my opinions known, like I fully support the Coyotes staying there. The number one response is, I'm happy for Coyotes fans, but man, I'm frustrated because they wouldn't do this for a Canadian team. There is not a single Canadian market that does not already have a team that is as valuable as this Phoenix-based market. That is just a fact. There is a reason why it's not, Gary Bettman's ego won't let Arizona fail. The value that region brings to the NHL, if they can finally get it on track 20 some odd years later, is almost immeasurable. Like, if they can get that infrastructure there for the Coyotes to finally have that stability that they've really never had, to have their arena in a solid place, it's going to be such a gigantic moneymaker for the NHL. It just is. It is not a matter of, the fans don't support that team in the market. Again, I will say this every time. Look at their 2012 Western Conference final run. You look at that building and tell me that's not full. You look at that building and tell me that's a market that can't support hockey. It's the same thing as the Florida Panthers. Look at that arena in 96 in that cup run. You know why that was full? Because that arena, if I'm not mistaken, was in downtown Miami. Then what happens? They move out to Sunrise, which is in the middle of the goddamn swamp. It's difficult to get to. And if that team sucks, nobody's going to show up. It's the same damn thing. It is about these teams getting the proper infrastructure. Now, again, for Florida, you could argue, well, they at least have Tampa. But again, just the size difference between the likes of a Tampa or a Miami compared to the Phoenix area, it's astronomical. I am all in favor of the Coyotes staying. I don't think it's embarrassing for the league if they're playing in front of 5,000 people, because at the end of the day, what looks better, a packed arena of 5,000 or a 20,000 seat arena that has 7,000 people in it, like the Buffalo Sabres right now? But again, and I've said this on this show too, for the Buffalo Sabres, they're not going to games for a noble cause, and they're affected. So many Sabres fans are Canadian, and there's the border restrictions, and they're not good. Excuse. But when it comes to the Coyotes and any logical excuse, no, just move them. It's nonsense. It's bullshit. I'm sick of it.
Where's the line?
Over. Full stop.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see all the fucking college kids at the games getting shit-faced and just trying to storm the ice after the Coyotes win. Won't happen too often yet, but just wait, man. Like, yeah, that's why I'm on. Again, once they start getting that crop of young talent start to break in, and that will hopefully be around the time where they start having a more permanent location. Yeah, we could see that Coyotes market explode again. I remember firsthand, like when they were a playoff team, even before that run in 2012 when the Sharks were playing, man, they had a packed house. They did like whiteouts, like there's a lot I remember. Like it's like any market. If you're doing good and marketing it correctly, the first rule of business, location, 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 same thing with a freaking arena, then it's going to work. That's as simple as that. Yeah, it's pretty nuts where everyone just put another Canadian team. No, who cares? Yeah, like, I'm sorry, you do not simply have the population density that places in the States do, and hockey's already loved right there. A team in Quebec accomplishes literally nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could sit there and argue. It's like, number one, the Habs are already number one. It's the same thing as like, add a team in Hamilton to compete with the Leafs. Like,
no one's going to stop being a Leafs fan.
The money that's there is already there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get more money, at least not to a noticeable extent. And again, you look at the largest Canadian cities. Toronto has a team. Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, and Winnipeg. Your top 7 teams, or your top 7 cities, all have teams. And then, number 8 is Quebec City, and then Hamilton at 9. But after that, Kitchener in 10 only has 522,000 people. You're not supporting an NHL team with that. You're not. Just flat out. Whereas the Phoenix area, its current population as of the most recent census is 1.6 million people. You could sit there and say, well, how many of the 500,000 would care compared to the 1.6 million? But then again, you get into the financials of the market, the television rights.
That's when you make them care by having a good team. They have to pay attention. That's what happens. Like, you put a team in Kitchener that sucks. That's not going to accomplish anything. Like,
right?
Yeah.
They'll just watch the OHL team instead.
Yeah,
like
the Rangers, terrible red helmets.
Yeah, like I don't like the idea of Hamilton having a hockey team because I just don't think they're gonna have, like you said, they'll have enough people or have enough support. It doesn't make any sense if you can barely support your OHL team and the prospects that are coming up over there, which is like fresh talent. I don't think you should be able to have a NHL team. It's just not going to work out in the long run, and that's the reason why these cities aren't going to get any.
I just think it's funny how. But no, I just don't. I'm just sick of it. Like, oh well, they're only going to be playing in front of 5,000 people. Junior teams get more. It's temporary, everybody. While they get an arena deal that makes sure they don't. That's the point of this. Get an arena deal that makes sure that this doesn't happen again. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. Yep. I agree, but at the same time, what are we doing here? Like, again, I'm over this fake outrage discourse over the Coyotes. I'm just completely over it.
People again, for easy dunks and low hanging fruit, and they just want bitch about something, and that's easy.
Yeah, and I was sitting here trying to look up, like, for example, again, 5,000 people. You can have 5,000 people there, or what, build to a bigger arena again, or, move to a bigger arena that, again, isn't that great. Like the New York Islanders, when they were at Barclays, while we were figuring out what the hell was happening in Long Island, like, their announced attendance for that first season, 15-16, 13,000 people. So was Arizona at 13,000 people. But do you think 13,000 people were in the building, or just 13,000 seats were sold? Like, it's just, again, where was the dunking for a team like the Islanders when they're in Barclays, a horrible arena, and it's not full? Like, it's just, anyway. Talked about this to death. If you're someone who continues to try and rag on the Coyotes, I'm just saying, you're wasting your time. They're not going anywhere, nor should they.
I will say one last thing. Okay. I was going to say
Go ahead.
It is very funny that they have to basically go back to ASU when ASU had to go to them originally to get a spot to stay at an arena. And I also find it really funny because if this was like 3 years ago, when ASU did not have a program like at all at this level where they have the stadium, because the stadium with ASU is brand new, like it's like just set up. If this happened, like if they never developed their program at all, and it was still kind of like a, not like a D1, but like whatever the like club or whatever, like what they have over there in the US, I'm not really sure, because usually it's NCAA or it's like club hockey or whatever. I don't know the proper term for it, but if this was like that and it was now, they'd be fucked, because they would literally have nowhere to play.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, and again, if that was the situation, yeah, we'd be having a completely different conversation.